Good morning, everyone. As all too often, my day starts with a trip to the airport, so here we go. Stay tuned. Mostly plants, very little fish, but from this whole set, this is when I always get surprises, so who knows what's going to be in the box? I don't even know yet, but yeah, gotta get to the store and start shipping those measuring spoons. Well, pardon the noise, we're vacuuming before we open up. We got the fish, they look to be doing okay. It's a bag of roseline sharks, small roselines. And then tons of plants, so, you know, lots of Java fern on wood, that type of stuff. And, you know, we'll get that going as soon as we can once we're done vacuuming and stuff like that, so stay tuned. Well, I'm back in the fish room. Let's take a look at the goldfish. I know you guys have been asking a lot of questions about it, but there's the one that's got a swim bladder issue. You know, he'll swim, and the minute he stops swimming, he turns upside down again. He came in that way. And I'm not sure there's going to be a lot we can do for it. Med's already in there. His belly is sunken in because he hasn't eaten in a long time, I don't think. So, I'm not sure we're going to be able to save that guy. And then, I finally did lose the one that was really doing bad in the bag. That's that one down there, so we're going to pull that. You know, it always sucks when you come into something like that. But, you know, we can kind of get a look at some of these other goldfish in here. And, you know, we're going to do a big water change today. I'm going to feed first and then do a big water change and get all the meds out of the water here. And, you know, it's sad, this goldfish, there's nothing we're going to be able to do for it. He just, you know, short of trying to build him something, but, you know, this guy was doing okay, but, you know, he's got to right himself. I'm not sure there's anything we can do about that, realistically. I mean, we can let him try and repair, but, you know, so I'm going to keep feeding him. I'm going to get that body out of there, and we'll do a water change, and I can chime in on other fish, too. So we've got, you know, lots of babies in here still. And then over here, these are some of the veil tails, the ingots, the black orandas, and the black ranchus. So these are, you know, all doing well, and you can now you guys can kind of see like how long through quarantine these are going for. So they've been around quite a while now, and gonna feed these guys. They've already started water changing today already because they're not on meds or anything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull that body and stuff and start working in the fish room. Well, I just discovered something that sucks. I already started cleaning it up, but I thought, you know what, document failure, because, you know, I like to show everyone I'm just as much as human as everyone else. So, I came over here, and this sponge filter was like not running at all. It was running at like, let me turn it down a bunch. It was doing like that. And so instantly I'm like, oh man, like, what is going on here? Like, do I not have enough pressure? So I'm thinking, all right, maybe today I'll hook up my extra linear air piston pump. But I'm like, you know, that big one can run like my entire store, and I have twice as many tanks in my store as I do here. So I'm going, all right. And then, you know, so I lifted it up, and it started going more. And that's a sign that there's not enough pressure in the line. We're running all the way around the room, right? So I'm turning this back up here. Hold on. So that's a sign there's not enough air pressure in the whole room. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna add the extra air pump in there. But I start looking around and going, I don't get it. How come this tank, we've got tons of air? Like, I've got way more than enough air. So I start looking around, and yeah, I'm seeing air in all the tanks, right? Okay. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But then I span over here, and if you look across the way, there's no air. And guess what? That's a Discus tank. So epic failure on the Discus tank. I found out what went on now, but we've already had massive casualties. So let me get up here, and you know, there's 3 left alive, and you know, all the rest have died. I pulled out most of the bodies, but there's no air, and I don't know how long there's been no air because I didn't clue into this sound last night. You know, and for all I know, it could have been a day or two because I've been in storm prep mode, not checking on the Discus mode so much. Like, yeah, I fed them, but if I'm just feeding them quickly, moving on to the next tank, maybe I missed it. So maybe it only happened last night. Maybe it's been going on for a few days, but I can see the culprit. The culprit right there is the airline tubing came off of the little nipple there, and so it's blowing out tons of air. And what that does is it lessens the pressure in the system, because there was pressure right here. Well, let me zoom out here. Because there was pressure from the water being there, it keeps the whole system pressurized. But the minute you basically open up a wide open valve in the system, it unpressurizes a lot. So I can see a few other tanks now that I'm up here high. So, you know, up here you kind of get a view of my fish room, and you can kind of look in at tanks and see their flow. And you can see even in the back there, they're all flowing. But when you look over here, like that tank at the far corner is not flowing very much. So, you know, I bet it'll increase. Let me see if I can set my camera up here. Up here. And now I gotta find where it went. So it just blew off, I guess, which that sucks. So yeah, let me plug it back in. It's gonna quiet down. I should have clued in right on that sound when I came in this morning, but I guess I was focused on those goldfish at the other side. So now that we're plugged in, should be no problem. You know, obviously, I've got air going on in here. I'm gonna do some water changes because dead bodies are never good, you know. And obviously the fish were looking pretty decent. But now, you know, with the ammonia in the water and everything, they've gone into like skeletor hiding mode again, which is not good. So, yeah, I've got lots of algae in here, but I can't really add an algae eater because they'll eat the sword plants. I could add autosynclus to warm, and then right now I've got ammonia. So I'm going to change that out here real quick. And yeah, so I'm going to make sure nothing else lost pressure because of that. And it's a sign that I probably will hook up either today or very soon the extra air pump, because when I lost a little bit of pressure, I only lost one tank, my deepest tank over there, the 2-footer. That being said, if I hook up the other one as well, I would suspect that I would not lose pressure even on that 2-footer with one air valve off. So yeah, time to start changing water for me, and you know, I'll chime back in after I figure out something else to do. Sucks hard. Well, the discus are done gasping at the surface, or at least that one is, so I think oxygen's getting back into the water. That's good. Now I'm going to start focusing on, I want to get a pleco in here just to clean up this algae so we can see into this tank. So that's the mission I'm going to do. I've got a bunch of plecos that I bred over here, and they've just been growing out, and so now they're, you know, that big. They're big enough not to fit in their mouths, so I can start spreading them around and get some algae control going on some of the quarantine tanks. Here's the Pseudotrophia celosi F1s. Just feeding them some large pellets. And, you know, they've got nice big fat bellies here. And people always worry about, like, oh, the pellet's too big. Think of it like a cheeseburger. Fish just take bites off of it, just like we would off of something too big to fit in our mouths. So a lot of farms use this tactic where they only feed very large pellets, so that if they did overfeed, they can just net it back out. And so you can see a lot of these fish have very big bellies at the moment. They're going to be able to eat kind of all day long and grow maximum speed. Even the Danios here have very big bellies at the moment, and so that's one of the tactics they use. And lots of fish will do it. Even these glow lights are doing it, and things like that. So up here we've got the Volifera mollies. I talked to Greg Sage, and he says they take forever and a day to sex out. He says he's got some from the same batch he sent me. His haven't sexed out yet either, so be patient and wait. I can do that. Yeah, over here, I'm going to get an algae eater in here as well, because I don't want to scrape this manually, and why not? And then same with these tanks over here. They're cycled enough that we can add an algae eater to them, and they'll make short work of the algae after a day or two. I get this question asked to me all the time, so I should probably address it, at least in one video. People always ask me, will a UV sterilizer stop algae? The answer is no. It doesn't do anything to algae on glass, hair algae, stuff like that. Yes, it will have an effect on green water. So that's definitely true. But in terms of actual, algae on surfaces, no, it doesn't do anything. And so I'm also a big proponent of snails, right? You guys always hear me say, I love snails, I think they're beneficial, they should be in every aquarium. Well, let me show you a difference here. This tank, there's no snails at all, right? They didn't come in with the plants I put in here, nothing. So we've got lots of uniform algae. Over here, there is probably a snail or two, a couple of small ones. So what's all this marking? This is all the work the snails have been doing. So, you know, you can imagine if I had a couple decent sized snails in there, this would actually get cleaned up. And maybe what I'll do, maybe I'll add a bristlenose to this tank, but then I'll add some ram's horn snails to this tank, and you guys can see the difference after a few days and see that they do a lot of work too. And so for instance, my water's too acidic, but in the Discus tank at the moment, I can't put bristlenose in there because the bristlenose would eat those swords. If I put snails in there, the snails would totally clean them up without destroying the plants. Although the water's too acidic up there at the moment, I have to do something to buffer that if I want to add snails. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start relocating some plecos and snails around the room just to help me with algae cleanup. So I'm adding this many snails to this tank, and then I'll add a small bristlenose to this tank, and we'll kind of compare. Hopefully the goldfish don't eat these, and that was a piece of food that the snails were eating that went in when they're with them. But we'll see how they do in comparison to the bristlenose. But now I actually am going to rearrange the bristlenose, so yeah. Some people have been asking for the Cracodon lateralis update, which we've got that going on here. And fry are happening. That's a good thing, you know, lots of fry. Well, I shouldn't say lots, but for the species, you know, you can see 1, 2, 3. Pan over here, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 out in the open. That's good. So, you know, they're doing their thing. Just realize the feeder's got to be pulled back a little bit more. Let's see, over here, I desperately do want to get this tank sorted and spread to a different tank. This is the red Delta Guppies here, and then I've got the LDA 08 dwarf Claroplecos in here. Those need to become a new, like their own tanks, I think. This tank I still want to play with, but I feel like I want to medicate it first, and I haven't done that. Maybe I'll do that today with the black chin live bearer. There's still a few in there that I don't like, and really I need to split these up as well. But let's see, chiming in on the Liberty Mollies, they're still doing amazing, even in this small tank. You know, I keep wanting to move them at the same time. Like, they're doing so well. I haven't moved. They're not making any babies because I took out all the cover. If I was to put them like in this tank, they'd make a lot of babies. But I don't know what I'm gonna do with that tank yet. Let's see. See if I can see any males down here. These are the dwarf platies. And I've got a lot of them. They want to eat, but I put some big pellets in there. They've already polished those off today. But yeah, lots of algae down there. I desperately got to take some of these into the store. This is all, what am I trying to say? Blue Silverado endlers, and this lily bulb is blocking the light. So let me move that there so you can see them. But I just fed these guys. These are the Weitzman Icories that, you know, I need to do something with, and I've got some mollies and a goldfish in there. Over here, this is where I move the Amica splendens to, so we've got some of those going on. Got lots of this bladderwort up here that I need to get rid of. This stuff is the devil, so I need to get rid of a lot of this floating plant that's in here just because it's so embedded with it. I should probably just get rid of it all. But and then the goldfish up here has done his job. It is duckweed free, so I need to move him out. And you know, maybe he should polish off this tank. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I'm trying to think what else is worth looking at today. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, if I'm going to do much more. I've got so much to do on the website and stuff like that, that's what's calling my attention, really. Let's see, you can look at the, this is kind of a cool view from over here. The Yellow Lab and Morii tank, the Dolphin Morii tank. You can see over there, that's a, you know, a huge female ready to spit for sure. And then, you know, the plants are starting to spread finally. So back there you can see they're starting to fill in, they're starting to make some runners, and then over there as well, so it's starting to work. They uprooted the ones on that sponge, and I could go plant them, but I'm trying to just keep my hands out of the tank and let it do its magic at this point. And there's still some up front and stuff like that, but you know, as that starts filling in, it's going to come together. It's just taking a while because I put it on camera, obviously. In this tank, I've got a lot of assassin snails breeding, and I've got some silverados and shrimp. And you know, people say all the time, like, oh, assassin snails eat shrimp. In my experience, it's not true. You know, there's a lot of assassins in here, and there's still shrimp. And I'm not directly trying to do anything to breed either or the shrimp. I'm mostly just feeding the tank well. And there's some blue silverado in there. These were all babies that grew up from a different batch. But yeah, so back to work for me. Ooh, yeah, I can show you these bettas over here. If I stay far enough away, whenever I get close to the tanks, you can't see, but then you don't get a very good look into it either. But these are the betta simplex down here. And, you know, even just me moving my chair made them scurry off. But, yeah, let me figure out what else I'm doing today. So I don't think I've shown you guys this yet. I brought in Taiwanesian rabbit snails. And I put them in this tank for now just because I wanted them to get, you know, somewhere to sit while I get ready to set up. I want to set up a cardinal shrimp breeding tank. And so these guys are just cool. They've got, you know, these really cool faces to them. They're all spotted. And they call them a Taiwanesian rabbit snail. In my experience, they're plant safe. You know, they wouldn't be Corridora egg safe. Like, if they're laying eggs, they'd be eating them. But you can see here this male is trying to breed with some females and showing off. Of course, the glare from the tank behind me. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, there's the female that's still holding right there. She turns her mouth. But yeah, so still got the frying here, so my system is working. You know, that's a good thing. Over here, still need to get a light for this tank. I know, I'm lazy. Now I gotta sneeze. All right, and you know, these guys are still working on algae and stuff. You can see it right there. This guy, you know, and he's been pooping, so you know he's eating it. And you know, there goes fry. So this tank, you know, to set up to make fry is working, and all I'm running is I'm running a Planet Plus on this tank, which is more light than I need to, but it's the only one I had sitting around that doesn't cost me any money. I get to buy a Stingray if I want to put it on there, so I'll use what's free first. I might move a bunch of goldfish into here just to spread out the load some more, so I might do that next. And yeah. So I got the auto feeder loaded and ready to rock and roll. These are the goldfish. These are all grow out. They're not really sellable size on the website or anything like that yet. We're just, you know, and maybe I'll introduce something with smaller size, but the shipping, you know, $50 shipping on some of these small fish doesn't make a lot of sense. And, you know, but if someone really falls in love with something, you know, we can ship them. But I'd like to see their crowns develop a little more on the pearl scales, that type of thing. And, you know, obviously, like, some of these ranches are pretty small. Some are getting up to decent size, but this is just a tank, you know, kind of a staging tank, I guess. And, you know, I'm learning that Arandas grow much faster. And even some of the pearl scales are growing decently fast comparatively. But now they've kicked up all this muck in here just because they're rooting around, and they've never had a fish in here that root around. It was only tetras, so. Yeah, but how many fish did I put in here? So it's 100-gallon auto water changes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So a little less than 10 gallons per. They're not adults, and they won't stay in here that long, but we do auto water change, so, you know, I think they'll do just fine. And now I gotta find something else to do. I don't know what else I'm doing today. It's kind of a lazy day. I don't really want to work, but I'm still working anyway. And yeah, we'll see what we get done. So I'm just taking a break and you know, watch some YouTube. And who do I see on there? Lamont and his brother. They've been doing a thing called Andy Snacks. I'm kind of in love with it. It's kind of just weird cooking show that I like. So as I was watching it here, you know, you can check them out at Them Muds. That's what their YouTube channel is. And you know, there's lots of good production work because Andy here has done a lot with you know, doing videos on, you know, like actual movies, stuff like that. And then you've got, lots of Lamont's artwork in the background there and all this decorating and stuff. But, they're making some mushroom soup. And by golly, if I did not watch 9 minutes of mushroom soup being made, because it's lots of antics from Andy here, and then at the end you even get Lamont in there. Let me get there to Lamont. So I don't want to spoil it all, but, good Lamont commentary there. So, yeah, but they're them muds. I'll put a link to it. They've only got less than 100 subscribers, but, that's how I keep tabs on Lamont. I watch what he eats and what he's been doing. But he's been doing some live streams on painting, and then they play video games, and then they cook stuff. But, I chime in because I find it interesting and different enough that, I kind of veg out for 9 minutes going, maybe I would eat some mushroom soup, even though I hate mushrooms. But, yeah, so back to work for me, but I decided to show you guys that. And I wanted to give a plug to Lamont because him and his brother are doing some cool things. So, alright, we'll see you later. Alright, it's about 4 o'clock. I've got some more stuff I want to do on the website, but I want to show you guys something I did add. It's been requested a few times, and I used to have it, now I've got it back, that type of thing. I want to get a better angle on it, but let me show you. So we're at the Aquarium Co-op website here. You can see my desk where I do the live streaming. But I've added a new thing here. Let me zoom in on that. Called Live Camera. This will be a live camera into the store. It's just one of the cameras I have at the store to monitor, employees and theft and all that kind of stuff anyway. But as you can see here, if I click the play button, it's going to start playing here, and it's got to sync up. That takes a little bit. Of course, it's taking forever. Like now, it's on like an actual. I don't know why it's lagging. Okay, there we go. So I've got it full screen at the moment, but what I want to do is I want to get it so that the camera's tilted a little more towards the tank and not so much just down the store there. Like at this point, there's some customers kind of tying up the employees over there. Robert just came in, for instance. There's a customer, and so yeah, stuff's getting done. But yeah, so now you guys can check out a Murphy cam and look at them anytime you want. So that's just one of the things I've implemented today, and hopefully, I can keep working on the website and get more things done. Which, that's another part of the lifestyle. Yeah, I work in the fish room, but I got all this stuff I gotta do, plus I gotta get products on, all that kind of stuff. So, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'm calling it a day. For me right now, I know you're not watching this on a Tuesday, but it is Taco Tuesday, so I plan on eating tacos. And thanks for 25,000 subscribers. Trying to think of what else. I'd tell you to go eat tacos, but I'm gonna eat tacos, so that gives you a day off. You only gotta fill in every other day I don't eat a taco. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.